thank all our witnesses here. Let me start with a question that goes to this issue of how the media itself portrays women working in the STEM fields. And my first thought here would be, because the studies that you've focused on here in industrialized nations, because that's rebroadcast out around the world, both are lesser representation on screen and off screen, probably impacts the number of women and girls interested in STEM in the developing world. And that's the essence of my question there.
Absolutely. You're right. 80% of the media consumed globally is made in the United States. My institute has also researched, done the first global gender in film study, and the representations are no better in foreign films as far as women in these fields. And the importance of it is, I can't overemphasize how powerful media images are, and they can be in both a positive and a negative way. For example, there being far too much stereotyping and hypersexualization of female characters. That's obviously negative. But if you show female characters doing non-traditional and important things, the message comes across clearly. The most interesting example I have of that is in our study of the careers of television female characters. One of the most well-represented professions was women in forensic science. There are so many female forensic scientists on TV because of the CSI shows and everything that I don't have to work to get more representation there. And in real life, the numbers of women wanting to pursue this career has absolutely skyrocketed. I think about 75% of people wanting to study this field are female, and colleges are scrambling to keep up with the demand for the courses. So it just shows what I mentioned earlier as the words we live by is, if girls can see it, they can be it. And because we fail to have enough real-life female role models in these fields, in the STEM fields and ICTs, we need them on screen so that girls can see that. And we need them in great numbers as well. We have to have boys and girls see that women are good at science and good at engineering and math, and that's viable for them.
I've got another question here, and it goes to the use of technology. Some years ago, I passed an anti-stalking act here. But as technology changes, we're now seeing it's not just the phone, it's access to the internet as an area where what you might think might make women feel more secure, you've also got the online stalking, the online hacking that threatens their security. So have you seen any evidence, for the panel here, any evidence on balance that technology is decreasing the overall amount of harassment of women, or is technology just a neutral tool when addressing this cultural issue? At the end of the day, what's your perception on that issue, and how can we impact it?
Thank you. So I'm sure that everyone has something to share on that. I think what's one of the most important things to recognize, and a study by my colleagues at the Webb Foundation just found this clearly through very in-depth research in 10 countries across the developing world, is that the reality is that the inequalities that exist offline are normally transferred to the online world, including the challenges, the difficulties, the norms tend to be duplicated online. And what we're doing, the way we work, is to ensure that, first of all, that is not the case, and that the kind of policies, the kind of programs, the kinds of projects to empower women, not just through access, but the way they adopt, the way they use technology, are informed, first of all, are safe, but also are informed by policies that will protect women to do that safely, but always giving them the voice that they need as women to express freely and in an open way. And that's very important. So it's important that we have the right programs in place to not only support, to protect women, but it's not just about the online world. That's just a replication of the huge inequalities that around the world we need to deal with as well in the offline world. So it leads us to think about other disparities that we know exist, that Jean already mentioned, that Joyce mentioned, in terms of education, in terms of the STEM fields, in terms of women's ability to have access to information, to understand their rights. In many countries in the developing world, the ability of women to understand and to use and act on their rights is very limited. And one thing that the online world and access to technology can do is allow women much faster and good access to information that they otherwise wouldn't have. And so in that way, we can use online platforms and the web and technology to not only increase women's ability to have more access to information, understand their rights, act on their rights, and have more support to have their own agency as women in their own societies.
Technology is going to be empowering. Mr. Series, I'm out of time. We'll go to Mr. Series.